Wolf. Leonard is Claudia's abusive father and was a member of the Order. After being condemned to a mental hospital for his insane and sometimes violent behavior, he was stripped of his rank in the cult. Despite this, he never gave up his faith, believing his daughter was leading the Order down the wrong path by trying to give everyone in the world salvation, when only the people God chose would live in paradise. Leonard possesses the seal of Metatron, which Vincent believes can prevent God's birth. When Heather is in Brookhaven Hospital, a phone rings in one of the patient rooms, and Heather answers it to hear an irate and volatile Leonard on the other end. He hisses at her, calling her Claudia and telling her she's always running away from her responsibilities, not letting Heather get a word in edgewise. He continues being an asshat by asking Heather, who he thinks is Claudia, how she turned out this way and where he went wrong with her. Finally, Heather forcefully tells Leonard she is not Claudia, and suddenly he tones it down. It's very clear he really doesn't care for his daughter, if not outright hates her. After revealing himself to be Claudia's father, they share their mutual dislike of her, and Leonard asks Heather to help him. He tempts Heather into helping him by telling her he's in possession of a seal. When she meets Leonard for the first time, it's in the flooded basement of the hospital, and before he shows himself, they have a quick conversation where Heather reveals she does not worship the God he does. He thinks she's tricked him and tells her she'll never get the seal, and what's more, he will kill her. At this point, he appears, and Heather is taken aback by his looks. Almost reptilian in nature, with a coat of sickly, scaly skin covering him, his face is mutated and marred beyond recognition, only having eye holes and a slit for his mouth. Where his hands should be are huge blade-like bone growths. After Heather remarks that it's okay to kill him because he's obviously not human, the battle begins, and Leonard disappears under the water. At times he will rise up and swing his bony arm appendages at Heather, which does a great amount of damage. Firearms are his weakness. Don't bother with a melee weapon because it won't do nearly as much damage. To beat him, watch his movements under the water. As he rises, fire at him as quickly as possible. When he is injured enough, he'll dart back under the water and either swim away or try to nip at Heather's ankles. Just sidestep him as he goes by and wait for him to surface again. Be patient, and this boss fight should go just fine. In Konami's book, Translated Memories, they say that the shape he has assumed is the embodiment of either Claudia's hatred for her father or of Heather's terror. And like I said, this boss fight takes place in the basement of the otherworld, Brookhaven Hospital. Memory of Alessa. The next boss in Silent Hill 3 is a tough one indeed. She looks just like Heather, save for the black hair and pale, bloody, rotting skin. The fight takes place on the carousel of the Otherworld Lakeside Amusement Park. As Heather stands on the ride after just having smashed at the strange quasi-living horses that emit toxic fumes, she turns only to be confronted by the memory of Alessa holding up a knife in a stance that calls for a duel. The fight begins with the memory of Alessa wielding the knife, so take advantage of this and use a melee weapon yourself. The knife attacks are weak but fast, so don't waste ammo on that because she can block your bullets at times. Use the katana and be ready for her attacks so you can counter them. After the first round, she'll fall down and disappear in a bubbly pool of blood, and appear elsewhere on the carousel with a steel pipe. Continue with the katana and use the same strategy as before, only be aware that this time her attacks are more powerful and slower. Round 3 begins with a handgun. Take advantage of the horses on the ride, and take cover until the memory of Alessa is close enough for a melee attack, in which she'll try to hit Heather with the gun. Slash at her again with the katana, but be aware that the memory will back up to a comfortable shooting distance if given the chance, and try once more to shoot at you. Don't let your guard down yet, as there is one more round in store. Lastly, the boss will appear with a submachine gun. Deal with her as before by taking cover and trying to lure her close enough for a melee attack. After that defeat, the memory of Alessa dies and leaves behind a message in blood. The message reads, "It would be better for myself to die. After all, it's nothing to be afraid of. That child, that demon. When I think of the endless pain it will bring when it is birthed, I decided that instead of the suffering and cruelty I endured in that sick room, that I would like to bestow a more gentle and peaceful death on myself. Why do I resist? I never thought of myself as such a fool." So now we understand why Alessa's memory, which clung to the amusement park, was attacking Heather. I don't know about you, but I feel a little bad for killing her after I read that. Scraper. Like the missionary boss, scrapers are similar in appearance and attack method, but they are smaller and weaker. They earn their name from the scraping noise made when they sharpen their blades. They are the last new monsters you meet very late in the game, appearing in the Otherworld Church. Like the missionary, they are able to deflect bullets and are still very fast. If you try to run around them, they are also able to push you off the ledges at times, so just deal with them with well-timed melee attacks. Scrapers are members of the Order. Some believe they are actually mutated from the evil power of the cult, or just so dangerous and fierce that Heather views them as monsters. Valtiel. I spoke a bit about Valtiel in a video about Pyramid Head, but I will go a little bit further in depth because he makes a return in Silent Hill 3. He is a governing angel of the town of Silent Hill, as revealed by the local religion. His name means attendant by way of the French word valet, and his existence as an angel calls for the suffix el. Thus his name means attendant of God. He is first mentioned by name in Silent Hill 3. The reason I mention this is because Valtiel bears the seal of Metatron on his shoulder, and Metatron was also known as the agent of God, further interlinking the two beings as similar in nature and purpose. God created several angels, Valtiel being one of them, in order to lead people to obey her. He even has his own sect, founded by Jimmy Stone of Silent Hill 4. Whenever a shift to the other world occurs, Valtiel appears before Heather at one point, turning a valve to clearly illustrate the cycle of rebirth and to show that he acts as a puppet master, controlling the shift to the other world. Although Valtiel's concern is not for Heather, if she is killed, a short cutscene will show Valtiel grabbing her lifeless body and dragging it away, probably in order to revive her so that God may live. Heather first sees Valtiel when she first encounters the other world while going down in the elevator at the shopping mall. Later, in the Brookhaven Hospital, she passes him as she goes up a ladder. Here he is turning a valve, and when she steps off the ladder and goes through the door, she is in the other world. After this, he is most frequently seen in the church, tormenting nurses and crawling around just out of sight. And in Heather's final battle, he is seen watching over God. Team Silent has said that Valtiel has appeared in different forms in the previous works of the Silent Hill series. The ceremonial robes worn by the figures in the Otherworld Elementary School that appeared in Silent Hill were an homage to Valtiel, while Pyramid Head himself was a being connected to Valtiel's existence. Something terrible happened in Silent Hill 17 years ago. A woman named Dahlia. She had tried to summon the ancient god of the town. She offered up her very own daughter.